like dance supports my creative feelings by allowing me to move my body and like allow me to think about things that I usually won't do.
No, there isn't a right or wrong way to dance in this class because you can dance in any way you like. It just depends on the topic, that's all.
And you can express your idea that you feel that you want it to be expressed outwards with a group, and you can maybe accentuate those points.
Okay, so today we're going to look at global issues. Okay, so I'm going to give you about 30 seconds to discuss with your group some examples of global issues.
Harder ones. I know global warming, obviously.
I think of harder ones, like very hard.
Warming's a nice thing. And
Terrorism, war. The purpose of the lesson today was to have the students look at a global issue, and it was kind of twofold. One was to have them explore the issue and what are their thoughts and their feelings and their ideas about this issue. And the second was to give them a chance to explore those ideas through dance. Each group has a different one of our global issues, okay? And I'm going to give you about 1 minute to brainstorm everything you can think of related to this issue. I think there's a lot of fear around the new curriculum that teachers think, I'm going to have to teach a hip-hop dance at the front of the room, or I'm going to have to teach them ballet, and I don't know anything about that. And that's really not what it is. The revised curriculum is really heavily based on more creative movement and allowing the students to kind of create the movement.
Yeah, it looks like it's sort of like a drug.
So do you guys notice the way, particularly the use of relationship? What do you notice about that?
That she sort of like needs him, that she can't really live without him, but she's trying to.
Right, so there's tons of times where she physically tries to move away from him and he pulls her back. There are certainly opportunities where you could expose students to those different genres and maybe show them a few moves from those genres and then let them create their own. But that's really what it's about, is exposing students to different kinds of movement and letting them create their own, take it and make it their own. Did you want to come over here so you've got some more space? Okay, and we're just going to go through some body storming. I want to see you try out some different movements. Okay, so just, again, it's like the brainstorming. You're just trying things out. If it doesn't work, try something different. And 3, 2, 1, frozen shape. The more the students can create, the better. And students can create. They love to create. They love to move and dance and jump and run, and they will do that willingly if you set it up properly for them. And 3, 2, 1, shape. What we were just doing was body storming. It's sort of the physical version of brainstorming. So the students had a chance to get their ideas out on paper of what they were thinking. And what they were doing here was having a chance of trying out different ways that the elements of dance might be used to help convey some of these messages.
talking about global issues using our bodies is an interesting activity because I enjoy debating, so this I feel like just within the branch off of a debate and how to show that your side of the debate.
So whoever is in the front here is going to create movements that are going to represent your issue. Okay, and then maybe let's see you stand up again, nice and slow. And freeze. Okay, so let's say that was our first movement. Jalen's tired of being the leader. She would like to pass it off. All she's going to do is, again, very slowly so the group can follow. You're going to turn in either direction very, very slowly until you have another leader in front. Yeah? And freeze. Now you have a new leader. Anzilla is in front. Okay? The formation that we're using here is called flocking, and it just gives the students a bit of a structure to kind of shape their choreography, and it works really well because it's not a choreographed piece, it is the mirroring, so it is kind of improvisation. Sometimes if you just say to a group, okay, go, create your movements, they're a bit lost. So when you give them a really concrete structure, it gives them the freedom to play around because they kind of know their parameters. It also has a bit of built-in differentiation. The students who are not comfortable moving, they don't have to be the leader, or they can be the leader for a really short time and then turn and someone else takes the leadership role. What I would say though is you're only doing about 2 counts with each of you as the leader, and it's changing really fast. So yeah, so when you get to keep working it, try and just elongate the time that each person is in leaders. But I really like, you've got really strong movements, right? Like that's very direct, and then you've got the elbow, which is a very sharp movement. It's and then really important that you do give students a structure. If you say to students, here's the music, put on a dance, what you will get is chaos. It's too overwhelming. Yes, they like to move, but they don't know what you want them to do. Can I make a suggestion? Okay, Angela, stand up again for a second. Instead of doing this punch first and then this punch, I would do this, follow through, come back with this one and go right down, right? Because it's more fluid, and that way, if she's going down that way, it just makes more sense to follow through with that one. The curriculum has really tried to embed a lot of the structures in the expectations, so particularly through the use of examples or teacher prompts. Once the expectation kind of outlines what you will be doing, there's usually some kind of example of what it might look like, or a teacher prompt, just to give you an idea of how you might start it. There's also a list in the glossary of choreographic forms that teachers could go to and say, okay, I need some kind of a structure, and they can say, oh, I could do ABA, that's very simple. I could work that into my class depending on what the assignment was. The best way to ensure the students will be successful and you'll get a good product is to set up those guidelines or those parameters for them. In our case, it usually starts with some kind of a problem or an issue, and so the students will start by brainstorming or working through some movements. They'll have a chance to sort of plan and focus their work. So in this case, we gave them the structure of the flocking, and then they had their little duet pieces that they created individually and then kind of joined together. And then again, when they went into their individual choreography, and I said, okay, give me 3 shapes. Everybody can think of 3 shapes, right? That's very, very low risk. And along the way, they'll receive feedback from myself, from their peers, even possibly do some self-reflection, until they finally produce sort of a preliminary work. And then at that point, they share it with the class. And they get, again, more feedback. And then they get a chance to kind of go back and revise that work. So the more you can sort of set up the criteria and really give them some parameters, the better the result you'll get, and the more creative they can be, because they've got a structure and then they can go crazy within it. I really like the group approach because I think it gives another layer to the dance, because students have to negotiate with one another. They have to learn to work cooperatively. And I like to, every time, split up my groups so that students really get comfortable working with different people. And particularly when it's an issue-based project, it's helpful a lot of times to have students who have different ideas or different opinions.
Well, I really liked using dance to do ethical issues, such as our group did racism, because it's more different. Usually when you'd see it, it'd be on plays or skits, and to dance it was I found creative. And to use like our body and gestures to show different moves without just acting them, but from our perspective, was nice. I think dance is a great subject to integrate. I don't think it has to be something on top. I think it can be part of so many things. Dance can be embedded and can be a way for students to demonstrate their knowledge of math, science, history, geography, language, whatever, without it being an add-on.
Okay, and what is something that this group maybe could work on if they were to go back again and revise the piece? Nikhil, what do you think?
I think they shouldn't have like smiles on their face a lot, because then it shows they're not as serious about what they're trying to point out.
Feedback is incredibly important to the creative process. I think it's really beneficial for them to see other students' work and be able to comment on what's working and what's not working, but also to be able to reflect on their own work and see what is working and what's not working. My message, I guess, to anybody who is nervous of trying it is to just try it and see the results. Children this age, they want to move. And you're able to cover the curriculum and they're able to get up and move and demonstrate their knowledge in new ways. So I think that's one way that might alleviate some of the anxiety around having to implement this new curriculum, is just to look at it that way, and instead of thinking, I can't do this, think, look at all the possibilities.
This class helps me to take risks, and it really helps me to express my ideas, to, communicate to others, and to also present in front of an audience positively and confidently.
A lot of times students will see something on TV and they emulate it or copy it without fully understanding what it is, what message is being conveyed. So I think the more they can understand that our bodies communicate just as much as our voices or our written word or our sounds, the more they can start to deconstruct a lot of what they're seeing in the media, and a lot they can even in their day-to-day interaction in terms of their own body language. We're not really teachers of subjects, we're teachers of children, and children would really benefit from the integration of this new curriculum area.